name is Nurul, Aina, Nadiah, and I'm going to present about the writing skill. The topic that I have chosen is Healthy and Wise, Year 6, Proficiency Level Medium. The first activity for the presentation stage is the teacher will come in and greet the students and brief them a little about the topic, Healthy and Wise. Then the teacher will ask the student questions which they can volunteer to answer. The questions will be such as, what is your definition of healthy food, and did you eat healthy food regularly? And then the teacher will introduce the teaching aid, which is the spinning wheel. The teacher will ask volunteers from the student to take right which of these list of food they think is healthy. So this is carrot, so they have to tick right on the carrot. And if this ice cream it's not a healthy food, so they have to tick X, that means wrong, unhealthy food. They have to name the food which they have answered. For example, this is carrot, so they have to write here carrot. When all of the food is answered and named, the teacher can go through all of them and check for any spelling errors. The second activity for practice stage is called adjective writing. The teacher will call up the student at random each time. The chosen student will come up to the front and spin the wheel. Whichever the pointer will point at, the student have to create adjective using the letters of the food. The adjective have to represent the food chosen. If the student is stuck, they can switch places with their friends, but they have to answer at least one adjective. This will continue until all of the food is answered. After that, the teacher will go through them and correct any spelling errors found. The last activity for the production stage is called sentence writing. As soon as the previous activity ends, the teacher will split the students into 4 groups. Each group have to choose 2 food on the spin wheel as their chosen food. Groups, they have to discuss and brainstorm to come up with a short story of at least 5 sentences. The sentences have to include the adjective written before. They can only use adjective of their chosen food. They have 10 minutes to discuss and draft their sentences on a piece of paper. After that, they have to come up to the front and write their sentences on the whiteboard. They can read them aloud with their group members to find out if there are any spelling errors. The teacher can also help by giving them hints.
My name is Aina, Athirah Norizal, and I will be presenting the reading skills and also language art skills. As for reading skills, I will be teaching the Year 6 students about Go Green, and their level of proficiency will be hard. Okay, first I'm going to show you my teaching materials that I have created. So this is my recycling bins. Okay, and this one is the cards containing words in it. Okay, so for the first activity, it will be about Go Green. In the presentation stage, I will ask the students to read a text given about Go Green, and then after they had done reading it together in a classroom, I will explain to them about how to recycle, how to save the environment, and ways to save the Mother Earth. After I had done explaining it, I will demonstrate to them on how to recycle. Okay, so let's say I had to pick any of these. Okay, let's say if I got here newspaper. Okay, it says there newspaper, so I had to dispose it in blue bin. Okay, so let's say if I got a rotten orange, so I had to dispose it in green bin. Okay, let's say if I got glass bottles, so I have to dispose it in brown bin. Okay, after I had done demonstrating it, I will ask one volunteer to give it a try. So this way it will help the students to at least able to categorize 3 out of 5 items into the correct bins. Okay, for the second activity, it will be about reading comprehension game. So I will give them a short story. It's a dialogue. So they had to read it first, and then after that they had to find a partner for them, and then they had to do a role play. When they do the role play, they had to use the teaching materials that I have prepared for them, which is the recycling bins. Okay, so that way I will evaluate their performance, their acting, and also how they deliver the definition of go green, the meaning of 3Rs, how to save environment, ways to save the Mother Earth, and other else. Okay, and for the last activity, the third activity, okay, it will be about creating item. So I will ask the students to form a group, five person in a group, and then they had to create at least one item for the 3 bins, meaning that they had to create 3 items in total. So okay, after they had done creating it, they had to discuss together and evaluate and guess on which item they had created, on which bin they had to dispose it. Okay, so like this involved critical thinking among them. Okay, so they had to like critically think on which item they had created to dispose in which bin, into the correct bin. As for the language art skills, I will be teaching the same year, which is year 6, and the topic will be about Rumpelstiltskin. The level of proficiency is average for the students. Okay, first I'm going to show you the teaching materials that I have created. So this is the Rumpelstiltskin mask. Okay, the first activity, it will be about knowing the Rumpelstiltskin story. I will ask the students to read a short story given to them about Rumpelstiltskin, and then after they had done reading it, I will imitate the Rumpelstiltskin chant using the teaching materials that I have created, which is the mask. And then, as usual, I will ask one volunteer to give it a try, do the Rumpelstiltskin chant using the mask. Okay, and then after that, I will ask them on what's the story about, what's the characteristics of Rumpelstiltskin, and why does Rumpelstiltskin want so bad from the princess. Okay, and as for the second activity, it will be about Athirah. So I will ask the students to find a partner. Okay, and then they have to do a role play between the Rumpelstiltskin and the princess. The scene is only when the Rumpelstiltskin chant in the words and the princess heard and guessed the other day. So only that scene they had to do a role play. Okay, and then they had to use the teaching materials that I have created, the mask. Okay, and then that way I will evaluate their role play, and then I will see how they implement the characteristics of Rumpelstiltskin in the role play. Okay, and then moving on to the last activity, the third activity. Okay, it will be about fantasy. I will ask the students to form a group, 5 students in a group, and then they had to create a their own version of Rumpelstiltskin by doing a summary. It could be anything. Okay, and then after they had done creating their own version of Rumpelstiltskin, they had to do a role play about it using the mask.
A very good morning to Miss City and my fellow friends. My name is Manpreet Kaur and I will be presenting on listening skills. The topic that I have chosen is animals for students of year 6, which fits the proficiency level of average. The teaching aids that I have created is an audio that I have used my own voice to explain about the animals. These teaching aids will be used in every level. For my learning objectives, firstly, students will be able to identify the animals by listening to the sound by an audio played by the teacher within 5 minutes in a group of 5 each. Secondly, students will be able to differentiate at least 5 wild and tame animals on a piece of paper after listening to an audio played by the teacher within 10 minutes. Thirdly, students will be able to categorize 3 out of 5 animals into their respective groups on an A4 paper after listening to an audio played by the teacher. So for the presentation stage, the activity is called Knowing the Sound. This is when the teacher plays an audio about animals in general. Animal is a living organism that feeds on organic matter. It is characterized by a multicellular body, specialized sense organs, voluntary movement, responses to factors in the environment, and the ability to acquire and digest food. Each animal has its own sound. For example, cat sounds like meow, a dog sounds like woof, A cow sounds like moo and a goat sounds like meh. Once the audio is done playing, the teacher will explain about the animals in a specific manner. Teacher will give even more details of which animals represents which sound. After that, teacher will ask the students questions such as how does a dog sound, or does a dog and a cow sound the same. For the practice stage, it's the worksheet activity. Teacher will ask students to listen to the audio that she plays about wild and tame animals. Tame animals are animals that are relatively tolerant of human presence. They can be kept as pets at home. They do not harm humans and are very gentle. Dogs, cats, hamsters, and sugar gliders are the common tame animals that can be pet. Wild animals are animals that isn't tame and it lives on its own without any help from humans. They cannot be pet as they are dangerous to humans. Tigers, lions, snakes, and foxes are examples of it. After that, teacher will ask students to list at least five tame and wild animals with their characteristics on the piece of paper. And then teacher will evaluate the understanding of animals by checking their answer. For the last stage, the production stage, teacher plays the audio, which is overall about the types of animals. There are various types of animals. The most common ones are mammals, birds, reptiles, amphibians, fishes, and insects. Mammals appeared during the dinosaur era, which is 200 million years ago. They are usually warm-blooded, covered with furry hairs, and they give birth. Tigers, lions, dogs, and cats are the example of mammals. Birds are also warm-blooded, but they lay eggs. Birds have a beak, feathers, wings, and they are able to fly. Pigeons, chickens, turkeys, and flamingos are known as birds. Reptiles are vertebrate animals of class that include snakes, lizards, crocodiles, and turtles. They have a dry, scaly skin and lay eggs on land. Amphibians are cold-blooded animals that are born in water and breathe with gills. Frogs, toads, and salamanders are amphibians. Fishes are limbless, cold-blooded animals with gills and find living in water. They breathe through gills, but they are not amphibians. Goldfish, cuttlefish, and Siamese fighting fishes are one of them. The last but not the least, insects have segmented bodies. They have joint legs and external skeleton. Mosquitoes, butterflies, and ants are type of insects. Once the audio is done playing, teacher distributes A4 paper to each student. Teacher asks students to categorize the animals into their respective groups. For an example, mammals, birds, amphibians, reptiles, and fish. This is to evaluate their listening skills and understanding on animals and the category they belong to. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Elizsovia. Good evening to Miss Siti Hajar and my friends. So today I have a task to talk about speaking skills, and I had a task to create 3 activities using a teaching aid. So my teaching aid was I choose to use here. What we know about speaking skills. Okay, speaking skills are the skills that give us the ability to communicate effectively. So these skills allow the speakers to convey his message in a passionate, thoughtful, and convincing manner. So that's what we say speaking skills, which means we will be able to speak with someone in a very confident way, right? So the topic that I choose is about natural disaster. Okay, what is natural disaster? It's an event that is caused by natural forces on the earth where great damage and sometimes loss of life occurs. Okay, so the example of the natural disaster is flood, earthquakes, tsunami, volcanic eruption, and there are more. So these are the basic ones. The very first activity will be the knowing the natural disasters. So I will ask the students what they know about natural disaster and what is natural disaster to know how much they understand and they know about the disaster. Then I will give them the picture cards that I have prepared and ask them to arrange accordingly to the name of the disaster. And I'll also ask the students to discuss, I will discuss with students on why a natural disaster causes a massive destruction. So from that, I'll be able to know what they think about natural disaster and is that dangerous? Is that can cause a massive destruction on the earth. The activity 2 will be think and act it out. So this is pair work, 2-person, and the students have to do a role play such as talking to a friend about the natural disaster by choosing a card that I have prepared. So this is the picture card, right? So they'll choose one of the picture card randomly. So if they get earthquake, they have to do a role play talking to a friend about the earthquake that happens. So this consists listening and speaking activity where they listen and they speak. The very last activity, the third activity, will be prepare yourself. Prepare yourself is a group work where the students have to plan on how to care of them and their family on the unexpected event. For an example, what they have to do before, during and after a disaster. So the student have to choose a picture. For an example, flood. So in flood, what they have to do before and during and after the event, after the disaster. So yeah, after that the students have to share their experience from each group. The teacher will choose randomly a student and they have to share their experience. They have to imagine as they are the one of the victim from that disaster, and they have to think how and what they experienced from their imagination. So from here, it's almost like storytelling activity. So that's all from me. Thank you.